Well, apparently it's noon here on the East Coast in downtown Ventnor, New Jersey, and the worldwide headquarters of YA in Bethesda, Maryland. And this is news that you can use from YAA, aka YA, the fastest growing Swedish software concern in the world today. Sorry, honey.
He's got his cool guy glasses and his cool blue shirt, and he's got some color to his skin. You look great, Dad. How are you?
I do have color here. I'll even take off my watch so you can see how much color I really have. Don't let your sister see this because she'll be mad as hell. But there's too much light. You can't really. But trust me, a week and I'm getting dark already, baby.
All right, Pops, let's kick things off today. We have the latest data from our friends over at Automotive News. Let's break down inventory levels right now in the auto industry, Dad. Yeesh, things are not looking pretty. Justin on the team is updating our guide back on our website that compares previous months, multiple previous months. But let's start breaking it down, Dad. Ford's days supply of inventory stayed virtually unchanged. They had a 36-day supply of inventory last month, 37-day supply. And we should mention,
yes,
the days supply from Automotive News does not include in-transit vehicles. As far as we're concerned, it's the more accurate days supply data that you can get your hands on right now.
May I ask a question? Was yeesh the actual headline?
Yeesh?
Yeah, you said yeesh. Look at these numbers.
I mean, yeesh is a good descriptive word of what's going on right now.
I suppose, yes. Yes, indeed.
Ford, 36-day supply last month, 37-day supply this month. Lincoln,
yes.
Dad, 30-day supply last month, 38-day supply 28-day supply this month. So Ford virtually unchanged
yes.
month over month. Accurate inventory levels, Dad, are skyrocketing from a 24-day supply to a 34-day supply.
Well, yeah,
for their cars.
Total Acura is a 24-day supply. Their trucks sell better than their cars.
Yes, they do. They do. Honda, let's look down here. Scroll back up. Honda is down to a 14-day supply from a 16-day supply. The woes at Honda continue.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're not feeling really good about that, but there's some other numbers that are even uglier as we move further down the chart.
Yeah, let's look at Genesis, though. 20-day supply, virtually unchanged from last month when they had a 21-day supply of inventory. Hyundai staying flat with an 8-day supply, and Kia looking at a 10-day supply down from an 11-day supply.
Yes.
Now, Dad, things start to get pretty scary.
Ugly. Really ugly.
There are 100 Mazda cars for sale, new Mazda cars for sale in the United States right now. And 2,200 trucks, SUVs.
Yes.
There are 2,300 new Mazdas for sale in the United States. That's a 4-day supply. I mean, when you saw that, what did you think?
I thought that our friend Brian Foley at Pacifico Mazda in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I began to worry for him that his owner might say, "The hell with this. We're going to start charging market adjustments because there is no inventory." And when you're in that position, it does get a little scary. And I remember back in the early 80s when there were limits on the amount of Asian cars that could be brought into the country at the Nissan store I was at. We just really got deep into the used car business so we could, stay in business.
2,300, man. 23. I can't get beyond that because, Dad, there are about 620 or so Mazda dealers in the United States. Somewhere around 600 Mazda dealers. So do the math. Yeah. How many new cars per dealership is that?
4.
Not even. You can't round up when it's cars, Yeah. So it's just mind-boggling to think that we've got that little Mazda inventory right now. Sadly, that's the reality.
Yeah, but Subaru's even worse.
All right, so yes, let's take a quick peek at Subaru. Their days supply has been stuck at 3 for the past 2 months, but Dad,
Yes.
Subaru's got a 5,500 vehicle in inventory supply right now.
And your point?
I mean, that's more than 2,300.
You know, we did drive past a Subaru dealership when you were down here, and they had like no cars, new or used, but they had an awful lot of asphalt. And if they were selling asphalt, they'd be in great shape, but they're not.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Pops, to your comment earlier about dealerships that are selling with MS or at MSRP and not adding market adjustments, Igor saying, I'm seeing this trend with those limited honest dealerships beginning to charge markups now. And you've got to wonder just how much longer can you can you can you do the conquest?
Yes.
Can you say, hey, we're playing the long game, so it's okay. We're not going to do market adjustments, but you're running out of people to conquest because you don't even have vehicles you can sell them. You're doing factory orders and pre-orders that are. Do you think Brian has any clue when his inventory is going to come in? My best guess is no.
Well, I mean, they probably have some idea as to when stuff is due in, but future stuff um, is probably looking somewhat bleak. You know, if you were a decent sized Mazda dealership, let's say, and you were being allocated 80 to 100 new Mazdas a month, and suddenly now there are no cars, you know, and if your allocation has dropped, I don't know, to 20 to 25, well, that's a significant difference. um, and if you're not willing to consider a market adjustment, and I applaud those who don't want to do that, um, you're really limited as to how much money you can bring in so that you can continue to operate the dealership. Yes, your floor plan costs are down. Some of your staffing costs are down. Your marketing costs are down. But a lot of your fixed expenses are going up. Um, so it's got to be difficult to balance between wanting to look at it in the long term and and being in a position where you can sustain yourself in the short term without, well, alienating your customer base.
Yeah. You're hitting the nail on the head, Pops. Let's get through here to Toyota because I know a lot of people are going to be interested in the
Yes.
Toyota data. Toyota's days supply month over
Dropped.
month dropped from
Yes.
20-day supply to a 16-day supply. This is at the same time that Toyota has been putting out what seemed like very honest headlines saying, hey,
Yes.
all of our guidance starts slashing it. We are not able to produce as many vehicles as we thought we'd be able to. We're seeing
Well,
that reflected here in their days supply.
well, they cut 150,000 vehicles out of their June production schedule. Um, and that's going to rear its ugly head on your at every local Toyota dealer. Um, you know, a lot of those cars, not all those cars were meant for the United States, but some of those cars were meant for the United States.
Yep.
And so that significantly impacts your on hand Toyota dealership inventory. And so, yes, trust me, they don't want to be operating at a 16-day supply of cars. Subaru does not want to operate at a 3-day. Um,
Do you
so
believe what Toyota's telling us, Dad? Do you think they actually have a 16-day supply of
it
new cars?
well, it's the 16-day supply. Most of those cars are probably pre-sold before they hit the dealer. So is it an actual day supply where if as a customer you wanted to go in and look at a car on a Saturday and drive home in it? More than likely not. Uh, you know, the on-hand available inventory at most Toyota dealerships might be, I don't know, 5, 10 cars. And the
If that.
rest, if that, and the rest are all pre sold before or spoken for before they ever arrive at the dealership. And the same holds true at your Subaru dealers and your Mazda. The same holds true at most of your dealers today, other than Stellantis brands. and perhaps some Ford product and some General Motors product. But
Yeah.
most of your Asian and Korean brands are operating with next to no available on-hand inventory and taking reservations and deposits on everything that's incoming prior to it actually arriving.
Let's look at the final manufacturers here on this list, Pops. Volvo. So Volvo currently has, let's see here, a 22-day supply. So relatively high compared to everyone else. I want to mention, Dad, it's a very, very, very tough time. I'm reading the chat messages as they're coming in.
Yes.
It is very difficult to find a dealership to work with. It's very difficult to do anything
Oh,
right
yes.
now. I want to just remind everyone the community forum. We may not be able to answer every question that comes through tonight. We did a really good job. Kudos to you, Dad, on Saturday night, I think, of answering a lot of questions. The community forum, community.joinyaa.com. If you are not on the community forum talking to other folks who have bought cars or trying to buy cars, this is the place to go to get help. Okay. I'm not trying to
Yes.
pitch you on the membership. I'm not trying to pitch you on the extended warranty. Go to the free forum. There are some premium sections. For example, if you want to get your deal reviewed by one of our team members, go onto one of the premium sections. There's also a Driven for Women community, a women specific community that you can join so you can get help. Use the forum. And the other one would be the dealer reviews. So if you go to the website, see what the community has rated and said about different dealerships who aren't charging markups and those who are charging markups. Because you're right, Ted. Your comment earlier. Vehicles are in transit. Dealerships
Yes.
who have previously been being good guys, good gals. How much
It's
longer? How much longer
yeah,
can you do that?
exactly. If the numbers and I read today somewhere, I think it's maybe in one of the articles we're going to touch on shortly,
Yeah.
that we might not see any relief with this for new vehicle inventories until perhaps sometime in 2024. Okay, 2024. That means we have another 18 months of this. So if that's truly the case, and honestly, I believe it probably is. If that's truly the case, then these good dealers out there that are not trying to add additional dealer markups really have to begin to look at what their situation is and how long they can continue to operate without that additional dealer markup. Because at some point, you have to be able to make up for that lost income, and the
Yeah.
only way you can do it is to increase the price of what you're selling your limited inventory for.
Well, yeah, well, Dad, bit of a balancing act because dealerships have
Yes.
made more profit than ever before. And we've got comments like this coming in from F8 Hulk. I've been selling at a major dealership group in the Phoenix area for 22 years, and commissions have been excellent in the last 2 years. You talk to your friends who are still in the industry,
Well,
profits are still sky high.
well, yeah. I mean, if you're working at a dealership in the Phoenix area, and it's a dealership that's adding market adjustments, and you're selling the cars at MSRP plus market adjustments, well, then yes, your commissions are going to be higher per vehicle than they've ever been. My issue or concern for you would be that you're probably selling less vehicles to make the same amount or more money than you were before. So you're making more per vehicle. But if you were a top salesperson that was selling 20 to 25 new and used cars a month, and you're now selling 15, well, there's 5 to 10 less sales per month. Now your commissions are greater, your income still might be the same or slightly higher. You're just doing it on fewer sales.
What's your point?
My point is that if inventory levels continue to get worse, that ultimately each individual salesperson's numbers will drop as far as sales are concerned, and your income potential could drop as well. That's my point.
I don't know. Maybe I wasn't paying that clear enough attention. I don't understand that. I mean, dealerships, we've seen them cut staff. They're going to continue to do that. Someone had put a comment in the chat earlier talking about all of the overhead that they have. They're going to continue to bring that down. You're going to have less and less inventory, and you're going to continue to charge customers more and more. We've seen how that kind of plays out.
Okay. So if that's the case, and let's say they continue to cut sales staff, and
Yeah.
let's say it was an operation that had 15 salespeople, and now they've cut it to 10, and they're going to cut it another 30% to 7. Okay, well that means there's 8 salespeople that are out of work. Okay,
you and I never see eye to eye on this stuff. You think we're gonna do it? We're going there. You think that the self-checkout thing at the grocery store is bad? I think it's great.
It puts people out of work.
No, it gives them an opportunity to go find other more meaningful work in their lives. That's what's Dad. Do you think you would have done nothing with your life if there wasn't the auto industry? You would have done something.
I would have sold advertising space or something. Who knows what I would have sold? But that's not the point. The point is that when you automate things like that, you were taking human beings that did a job and you were putting them out of a job. And your suggestion is, okay, well, go find a different job in a different industry. Well, maybe that different job in a different industry doesn't exist, or maybe you need additional training to be able to find
which is great.
Which is great. And when that automatic checkout thing doesn't work properly, who the hell am I supposed to scream at? Okay, so I'm sorry. I want to deal with a human being. What is wrong with dealing with another human being? Even if at times when I'm in the checkout line, I've never seen a human being move as slow as the checker might move, but they do. It's incredible. But I'm sorry. We're humans. We need to deal with other humans. We don't need to deal with machines. It's the same as Jim Farley saying, guess what? You can sleep in your car when your automatic driving car drives you around. No, I don't want to sleep in my car. I want to drive my car. We're humans. We need to continue to have human interaction. I'm sorry. I get tired of screaming at my damn navigation system in my car when either I don't speak clearly enough or it just doesn't understand what I say. No, I'd rather have a person sitting in the passenger seat and I say to them, find us directions to wherever I want to go, as opposed to the lady come back and saying, so you want to go to Trenton? No, I was trying to go to Atlantic City, damn it.
I got one person who says they're with me, Dad. We've got about 30 people that are with you.
Yeah, well, what can I tell you?
Man. Here you go. Hey, Kimberly. All right, so she's a little... All right. Pops is turning red. Yeah. All right. Let's switch gears, Dad. Actually, I want to talk about one more inventory.
I need more coffee.
That was really, really quite strong. I want to talk about one more inventory related thing. Let me pull it up on the screen. Then we can switch gears. Our friends over at 4Eyes, they update this data every single day. Total inventory available in the United States for new cars. This is the data set of 90% of US-based new franchise auto dealerships, okay? Yes. Not independent used stores. Inventory levels, April of 2020, were up around 4 million vehicles in inventory. Excuse me, this is new and used. Forgive me.
Okay.
4 million vehicles. Well, look what we're starting to do right now. We're starting to go back down.
We're going down again.
Inventory levels down 5.8% month over month from May. And when you start to do the drill down based on the automakers, so let me actually pull it in here. Who were you mentioning that has some good inventory? We were talking a little bit about some of the Stellantis brands.
Stellantis does. Ford shows some decent inventory in their numbers. I don't know how real it is.
So we'll pull up Toyota. Let's look at Mazda. Let's look at Ford, and let's get a Stellantis product in there. Chrysler. We'll do Chevy too. What we're about to look at here is how inventory levels have changed by brand for each of those brands from April of 2020, the high, to this past month. So Ford inventory levels are actually down 75% from their highs.
Okay.
75%. Chevy inventories are down 68.4%. Chrysler inventories are down 66.2. Mazda inventories, surprisingly, are only down 63.5. I think what might be affecting that is where they started at was a little bit
Yes,
lower than everyone else.
and where they stopped at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Toyota inventory levels down 61.2%. And then used inventory levels down. Particular vehicles, Dad.
Wow.
Blazer inventory levels down 92.4%. Trax inventory levels down 90.6%. Malibu. I actually looked at this data the other day, and I'll show you really quick. When you put everyone in here,
Yes.
give it a second to load. Give it a
I'll give
second
it
to
all the
load.
time it needs.
You're very kind to this software.
Yes.
Jeep
Oh my goodness.
Cherokee down
Yeah.
99.3%. Honda Odyssey down
Did they
96.1%.
discontinue the Cherokee?
I hope so. or else I'm
I don't
concerned.
know. Yeah.
You can start to look at some of the numbers on the screen. It's pretty
Yes.
drastic.
Yeah.
How
I know
down.
they didn't discontinue the Honda Accord, and that was down 91%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild stuff.
Yes.
Okay, Pops. Why don't we switch gears and we can talk a little bit. I've got two things top of mind for me: the dealer laws and loan defaults. Which one do you want to jump to?
You're the host. I am just the ranter. You're the rantee. I'm the ranter.
I know. I'm never going to live this show down. All right, let's talk a little bit, Dad, about what's happening to Gen Z and millennials. This headline was pretty stark and I think pretty telling. Gen Z and millennials, default on auto loans at far greater rates than before the pandemic. Data from TransUnion shows people between the ages of 18 and 40 were at least 60 days past due on their auto loans in the first quarter. So we're starting to see a little bit of what you and I think had anticipated, which is people can't afford necessarily what they're actually getting themselves into.
And I think a lot of your Gen Z and millennials are saying to themselves, I'd rather ride a bike, I'd rather walk, I'd rather rent a scooter, whatever it is, than make that $400 or $500 or $700 a month car payment. And then, old fogies like me are not thinking, well, hell, I'd rather ride a bike 15 miles to work every day. So
Yeah.
I think that's a part of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think, man, you're just gonna have to find cheaper ways to get from point A to point B if you're in a metro area. Like I imagine a whole generation of people are going to be walking away from vehicles and thinking, okay, I just can't afford that. Because also factor in fuel costs and things like that.
Well, if I may, just between you and me and the 12 million people that might see, okay, that was an exaggeration, and the handful of people that might be watching this or might see it.
Yep.
You haven't owned a car for, I want to say, almost 2 years now. Okay. You are 26 years old. That would make you a millennial. You walked away from the car and the car payment and the gas and everything else that goes along with that.
Yep.
And last summer, when you stayed at the Jersey Shore, you had yourself like a Vespa type scooter.
Yep.
And where you live in DC, how often do you rent those scooters, those same type of scooters?
Yeah, I use public transportation, or I rent mopeds. Yeah.
Yeah, and you use public transportation almost daily.
Yep, I do every single day. Yeah. I mean, Dad, gas prices continue to go up. Car payments are continuing to go up, and on longer loan terms. I mean, I'm interested in this question.
Yeah.
Is there any data for repos? I haven't seen any data yet. I'll have to do some digging because that's what I'd be interested to see.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if there's more and more people that are 60 days delinquent, you're going to start seeing more repos. We've probably already started seeing more repos, and we will continue to see more repos. And so that will bring more used cars to the market at a certain point. And just the other day, we read something about subprime loans are in the higher default percentages than in the past.
Yep.
which isn't really surprising since, well, they're subprime loans. But it's only going to get worse. Do me one favor if you can, since you have control over everything. Just go
Yeah.
to AAA and see what gas prices are up to today. I'm just curious because
Yeah.
I think it was
$4.87, Dad.
so that's up another 3 cents from yesterday. Okay, so if this continues, this time next week, it'll be over $5 a gallon on a national average for regular gasoline. There are in the Mendocino area of California, gas is up to $10 a gallon. So those types of numbers are going to severely impact the amount of repossessions there are and how
Definitely.
people view their transportation needs. They will figure out other ways to get around rather than spending $250 a month on fuel, plus $700 a month on a car payment, plus another $200 a month for insurance, plus $50 a month in maintenance, and God knows what else. They'll say to themselves, I'd rather just walk away from all that.
Exactly. I agree.
Save all that money and go get a Vespa, go get a moped, go get motorcycles. They're charging additional dealer markups on motorcycles right now. So, but people are going to look for cheaper ways to get around.
Dad, I saw this data that came in from Cox Automotive, and I promise you this all ties back. Fleet sales year over year were down. You're going to have the enterprises, Hertz's, you're going to have corporate buyers buying repo cars. Like, that is the next evolution here. We get the Black Book data tomorrow, and they're going to talk about the mix of vehicles that are making it to the auctions. You've got fleet sales down 33% year over year for May. You've got young people walking away from their Hyundai Elantras because they don't want to pay for it anymore. Like, this to me is the reality for the next few years.
What do you think of this as a possibility? That your major players in the rental car space purchase, take over, acquire all these Vespa, moped type in-city transit groups that are out there that have put together these networks of where you, I mean,
but those the issue is they only work in metro centers. It's like, what about middle America? What about where the majority of the population lives?
I don't know. I mean, I was going to say, if you live in a rural area, you're stuck with a car. There's no way to get around.
Yeah, there was a comment in here. Where was it? Let's all cram into cities. Oops, now that there's that pandemic thing to deal with. Like, this is tongue in cheek, obviously, but it's kind of the reality. Like, some of the things that I have access to because I live in a metro center, a lot of people don't have access to it. And so you then have to pay these things. And then there's comments like this, Dad. Look at this from Rick. My brother spends $1,000 a month to drive his large SUV, gas, insurance, car. The total cost of ownership. I know vehicles are appreciating right now. They're not depreciating. Eventually that'll change. We don't know exactly when, but eventually that'll change. It costs more and more and more, and it holds people down more and more and more economically to own vehicles. And in so many places in this country, you can't get around unless you own a vehicle. And so it's not a pretty situation, to say the least.
It's not a recipe for financial security.
That being said, Dad.
Yes.
I want to do this all week. Dad. I want to end with good news.
Okay.
This was posted back on the Success Stories channel on the YAA community. And let's actually look. There are 448 success stories posted on the community forum. So please, 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 if you have a success story, share it with the community. This is from Christopher. Thanks to the folks at YAA for giving me the knowledge and confidence to score a very good deal on a very hard to find new Chevy Trailblazer. I used the email templates, vehicle search, and watched numerous videos to help me guide my way. The roleplay videos featuring Laura were especially helpful. I also found the quick response in the multiple community chats were fantastic and ensured me that I was doing things right. Not only did I run into some shady dealers, I also found a great one that I can highly recommend. Shout out to my salesperson, Jessica Presnell at Dick Gent Chevrolet in Southgate, Michigan. Good and bad reviews will be posted in the appropriate message boards. Kudos to you guys to help me to see what to look out for and when to walk away. Thanks to you guys, I was able to do some homework and get my little girl a safe new ride for when she drives off to college in a few months. YAA premium was worth every penny. It can be done. Just a friendly reminder, it can be done.
It just takes work. We keep saying it. If you don't get what you wanted first, keep trying. If you haven't found a dealer that's willing to work with you, keep looking. And if you haven't utilized all the tools and free stuff that we make available to you, whether it be on our Join YAA website or whether it be on our YouTube channels, then you're just not doing all that you can in order to see to it that you spend as little as possible.
Yeah,
And
well said, Pups.
and it's truly there was a comment, I forget, from whoever it was yesterday, and literally brought tears to my eyes because we had saved them enough money, and it just reiterated why we do what we do, why we have the team that we have, and how we can impact what goes on in this industry for the benefit of both the customer and the dealer. I know there are those out there who think, oh, well, we're just speaking for dealers. No, we're trying to educate dealers as much as we're trying to educate the consumers. We want everybody to be able to find a better way for these transactions to transpire. And little by little, day by day, we're making a difference. And there's something special about that.
Yeah. All right, Pops, you look damn good. I'm just going to pull you up on the screen for a second. You look really good.
Well, that was me. Oh, well, thank you. Yes, I'm getting a little color. I'm thinking, there's a walk in my future shortly after we sign off.
Let's sign off now. We will be back at noon tomorrow for more daily news that you can use every day this week, Pops. We're ending with something happy, okay?
Oh,
something
okay.
happy.
Okay. Maybe it'll be a happy meal. I don't know.
I'm going to go hang out with my sister. You have a good day, Pops. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay. I love you. See you, handsome. And see everybody. We'll see you back here tomorrow with more news that you can use from YAA at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific.
Thanks, Pops.